Hey guys, Bull the Skeleton Wizard. So, I'm gonna cancel that because. But, we are reading. We have to record some stuff instead of live streaming it. Today, we are reading chapter 8 of the Twisted Ones. But, I just wanted to say, happy 50 subscriber milestone, guys. We are so far into the. We are like halfway through the new year. We are so close to our 3rd anniversary of the channel. Oh, and my birthday, and 50 subscribers was one of the most adrenaline pumping things of Sunday, not even Sunday, Saturday day. Like, holy crap, that was pumping. So, I'm here with Marley. Are you okay?
Yes, you were here with me, who at the moment does not feel so great.
Don't worry, I'm not feeling so great either. Um, we think we're getting a cold, but we don't, or a flu or something, but we're not sure. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna start reading. No entered voices this time. My throat said. You said the wrong stuff. It's mostly just because, I don't feel like it. So, shall we begin? I've been waiting to get back to recording this because, oh my gosh, the last sentence of chapter 7 was, oh my god, one of those oh my god moments. Okay. Are you ready?
No, I'm still making my bed.
Oh my god. Okay, well I'm starting, cause screw you.
Screw you.
Just kidding, like jeez.
You're starting without me being ready.
Because I'm already recording. This is a recording instead. Thank you. Charlie tossed her keys to John. You go. There's a gas station a few miles back the way we came. You can call from there. He nodded, jangling the keys in his hands. I'll stay with you, Jessica said instantly. No, Charlie said, more forcefully than she intended. Go with John. Jessica looked confused for a moment, but finally nodded and headed off towards the car. Are you sure? John asked. Charlie waved her hand at him dismissively. Someone needs to stay with it. I'll keep my distance. I promise. I won't disturb it. Okay. Like Jessica, John hesitated for a moment. Then they left Charlie alone in the empty parking lot. After a minute, she heard an engine start, and the noise of a car faded as they drove off down to the empty streets. She sat at the top of the mound where she had uncovered a misshapen bear and gazed down at it. What do you know? She whispered. She stood and paced slowly over the other two plots of disturbed soil, wondering what lay beneath. The bear was frightening, misshapen, an imitation of Freddy created by someone else. It was a strange variation, into which her father had never breathed life, but William Afton, Dave, did. The man who designed these things was the same man who had stolen and murdered her brother. A thought surfaced, a question that had visited her many times before. Why didn't he take Sammy? Charlie had asked herself. The wind and her dreams that question endlessly. Why did he take Sammy? But she had always meant, why not me? Why was I the one that lived? She stared down at the soil beneath her, envisioning the bear's strange, embryonic face. The children murdered at Freddy Fazbear's had lived on after death. Spirits lodged somehow inside the animatronic costumes and had killed them. Could Sammy's spirit be imprisoned somehow behind a large rectangular door? Charlie shivered and stood up, suddenly wanting to put as much distance as possible between her and the twisted Freddy buried in the soil. An image of his face came to her again, and this time it made her skin crawl. Did the other two mounds had similar creatures? Was there a malformed rabbit hidden in the dirt there? A chicken clutching a cupcake to its grotesque chest? But the thing that tried to kill me tried to envelop me. It was designed to kill. There could be anything buried down there, waiting for nightfall. She could dig up the other two mound to see what lay slumbering beneath. But as soon as she thought it, she could almost feel the lock of metal hands on her arms, forcing her inside that deathly carnivorous chest. Charlie took a few deliberate steps back from the mounds, wishing just a little bit that she had allowed Jessica to stay. "How has your visit with Charlie been?" Jessica asked in a conspiratorial tone that made the final turn out of development and onto the main road. John didn't take his eyes off the road. "It's been fun to see her again. You too," he added, and she laughed. "Yes, you've always loved me. Don't worry. I know you're here to see her." "I'm here for a job, actually." "Right," Jessica said. She turned and looked out the window. "Do you think Charlie has changed?" she asked abruptly. John was silent for a moment, picturing the bedroom Charlie had turned into a scrap heap of Theodore, ripped apart and kicked in pieces. He thought of her tendency to retreat into herself, losing whole minutes as if she were stepping briefly out of time. "Do I think she's changed?" "No," he said finally. "I don't think she has as either," Jessica sighed. "What did you find at Freddy's?" John asked. "Dave," Jessica said faintly, waiting for a moment before looking right at John. "Right where we left him." "And you're sure he was dead?" John looked down. Jessica swallowed hard, suddenly seeing the body again. She pictured the discolored skin and the costume that had sunken into the rotting flesh, fusing the man to the mascot in a grotesque eternity. "He was dead, all right," she said it hoarsely. The gas station was just up ahead. John parked in a small lot and got out of the car and waited for Jessica. She followed at his heels. What a dump! Jessica spun, marveling at the surroundings. Surely there was a better place to. Jessica stopped short, suddenly seeing the teenage boy behind the counter. He was staring into space, watching him just behind them, and to the left. "Excuse me," John said. "Do you have a public phone?" The boy shook his head. "No, not public," he said, gesturing to it. "Could we use it, please?" "Customers only." "I'll pay for the call." John looked. "Look, this is important." The boy looked at them, his eyes finally focusing as if only just registering their presence. He nodded slowly. "Okay, but you have to buy something while she makes the call." He shrugged, helpless against the rules of management. John, just give me the number," Jessica said. He dug it out of his pocket and handed it to her. As she went behind the counter, John scanned the shelves impatiently, looking for the cheapest item available. "We have popsicles," the kid said. "No thanks," John said. "They're free." Political. "Well, how's that going to help me if they're free?" "I'll let it count as a purchase." The boy winked. John clutched his jaw and lifted the lid of the cooler, jerkingly, at the sight of taxidermy coyote hidden inside. "Brilliant! Did you stuff that yourself?" he asked loudly. The boy laughed. A sudden snorting sound. "Hey!" he yelled as John grabbed the carcass by the head and yanked it out of the cooler. "Hey, you can't do that!" John marched through the door, out into the parking lot, and hurled the dead thing onto the road. "Hey!" The boy screamed again and ran out into the street, disappearing in the cloud of dust. "John!" Jessica hurried out from the counter. "He's on his way." "Great." Followed her out to the car. Charlie was still walking in circles, glancing up at the horizon every few seconds. She felt like a sentry, or the keeper of the Virgil. She couldn't stop imagining the animatronics buried there. Whatever they weren't in boxes, not even shielded from the dirt. It would sink into every pore and joint and would fill them. They could open their mouths to scream, but the relentless dirt would just flow in, too fast for sound to escape. Charlie shivered and rubbed her arms, looking up at the sky. It was turning orange, and shadows from the weeds began stretching across the ground, giving the mounds a sideways glance. She walked with deliberate steps to the other side of the log where the only telephone pole with wires stood. They hung down from it like branches of a weeping willow dragging the dirt. As Charlie got closer, she saw small, dark shapes by its base. She was approaching slowly. They were rats, all lying stiff, dead. She stared down at them for a long moment, then whirled, startled at the sounds of cars. John and Jessica had returned, and Clay was just behind them. They must have already been in the area. Okay, okay. So we have like 10 more pages. This is a shorter chapter, honestly. Watch out for the pole, Charlie said by the way of greeting them. I think the wires are live. John laughed. No one touched these wires. Glad you're okay. Clay didn't speak. He was busy examining patches of dirt. He walked around them, as Charlie had, peering at them from every angle. Then finally came to a stop where he had made a full circle. You dug one of these up? He asked, and Charlie could hear him strain in behind his level voice. No, John said hastily. You just uncovered a part of it, and then covered it back up. I looked down again. I'm not sure if that makes it better or worse, he said, his eyes still on the mounds. It looked like Freddy, Charlie said urgently. It looked like a strange misshapen Freddy. There was something wrong with it. What was wrong? Clay asked gently. He looked at her with serious eyes. I don't know, Charlie said helplessly, but there was something wrong with all of them. Well, they're murdering people, Jessica offered. I'd count that as something being wrong with them. Charlie, Clay said, still focused on her. If you could tell me anything else about these things, then now's the time. We have to assume that, as Jessica told me over the phone, they're going to kill again tonight. Charlie dropped to her knees in the place that she had dug up Twisted Freddy and began digging again. What are you doing? John protested. Clay needs to see, she muttered. What in the... Clay inched forward to study the face. He then took a long step back to observe the disturbed plots of earth measuring the size of the buried at their feet. We have to evacuate these buildings, John said. Otherwise, what are we going to do when these things get up? Ask them to go back to bed? There aren't that many apartments in the area that actually have people living in them. There are only one building in the whole block, he said, pointing. Maybe two that look bleh. Sorry, guys. Occupied. Okay, I'm going to go check it out. See who's home. Keep watching over these things. Clay studied the row of buildings and made his way toward them. So we wait, John said. Charlie continued watching the skyline, dark clouds rolling over the sun and making it appear as though night had fallen early. Do you hear that? Jessica whispered. Charlie knelt beside the metal face half buried in the ground and turned her ear to it. Charlie! John startled. She lifted her head and stared at the face again. It had changed from one moment to the next. Its features had smoothed over, become less crude. She looked up at John, her eyes wide. It's changing. Wait, what? What does that mean? Jessica said, looking horrified. It means something is very wrong, he said. Jessica waited for him to explain. "We're not at Freddy's anymore," was all he offered. Clay returned from across the field. "Everyone into the car," he said. "My car?" Charlie asked. Clay shook his head. "Mine." Charlie was about to protest, but Clay gave her a stern look. "Charlie, unless your car has a siren that you've had high-speed pursuit training, then stand down." She nodded. "What did you tell them?" Jessica asked suddenly. "I told them there was a gas leak in the area," Clay said. "Scary enough to get them out. Not scary enough to start a panic." Jessica nodded. She looked almost impressed, like she was taking mental notes. They piled into Clay's car, Jessica quickly claiming in the front seat, though Charlie suspected that she just wanted to leave her alone next to John. The cruiser sat at the edge of the lot, as far from the mounds as they could be without edging onto the road. The sun sank below the horizon, and the final streaks of light bled away into darkness. A single street light flickered on. It was old, the light was almost orange, and it was sputtered at intervals as if it might fail at any moment. Charlie watched it for a while, empathizing. John was busy staring out across the field, unblinking, but as the hour passed he would get into slouch in his seat. He let out a yawn, then quickly brought himself back to alertness. An elbow poked his ribs and he turned to find Charlie with a mess of wires on her lap, studying something carefully. "What are you doing?" he asked, then turned his gaze back to the field. "Trying to see what exactly this thing does." Charlie had a metal disc firmly in her hand. It was the only one they'd wrestled from the monster that day. She was trying to connect it properly to the diagnostic tool's small keypad and display. "Okay, John, don't puke on me." She smiled, her finger ready to flick the switch. "I'll do my best," he said. He grumbled, and tried to concentrate on the dimly lit field. "What is that?" Jessica whispered. "We found inside the animatronic that attacked us today." Charlie was eager to explain. Jessica leaned closer to see. "It emits some kind of signal. We don't know what it is. It changes what those things look like." John turned his head to the window with a nauseated look. "Changes our perception of what they look like," Charlie corrected. "How?" Jessica seemed captivated. "I'm not sure yet, but maybe we can find out." Charlie dug her nail into the groove and pulled the switch. "I can hear it already," John sighed. And I can feel it." "I can't." Jessica tilted her head. "Listen. Maybe I can. I don't know." "It's very high-pitched." Charlie was busy turning small knobs on a handheld display, trying to get the readout from the device. "It gets into your head." John rubbed his forehead. "This morning it almost made me sick." "Of course," Charlie whispered. "It gets into your head." "What?" Jessica turned toward her. "These readings look like nonsensical at first. I thought something was wrong." "And?" John said impatiently. Then Charlie suddenly went silent. "In class we learned that when the brain is overstimulated, it fills the gaps for you. So, say you pass a red hexagonal sign on the road and someone asks you what the words were on it. You'd say stop, and you'd imagine that you saw it. You'd be able to picture that stop sign in a way that you should have been. That is, of course, if you were properly distracted and didn't notice an obviously blank sign. This thing distracted us somehow. It makes our brains fill in blanks, previous experiences, the things we think we should be seeing." "How does it do that? What's in the actual signal?" John glanced back again, only half listening. "It's a pattern, sort of." Charlie leaned back, letting her arms relax. The device cradled in her hand, the disc emits 5 sound waves, continuously varying frequency. First they match one another, then they don't. They go in and out of harmony, always on the edge of forming a predictable sequence. them wrenching away. I don't understand. So it's not a pattern? John said. It's not. That's the whole point. It almost makes sense, but not quite. Charlie paused, thinking about it for a moment. Tone fluctuations happen so fast that they're only detected by your subconscious. Your mind goes mad trying to make sense of it. It's immediately overwhelmed. It's like the opposite of white noise. You can't follow it, and you can't tune it out. So animatronics aren't changing shape. We're just being distracted. What's the purpose of that, though? Jonna turned away, leaving the window, giving up at the pretense of ignoring the conversation. To earn our trust, to look more friendly, to look more real. As the possibilities stacked up, a grim picture began to form in Charlie's mind. John laughed. To look more real, maybe, but they certainly don't strike me as friendly. To lure kids closer, Charlie continued. The car got quiet. Let's just focus on getting through the night, okay? Clay said from the front seat. I can't call this in as is. Right now, it's just buried in junk in a field. But if you're right, and something starts moving up there. He didn't finish. John leaned against the car door, propping his head against the window so he could keep watching. Charlie leaned her head back, letting her eyes close for just a few moments. Across the field, an orange bulb continued to flicker its hypnotic pulse. Minutes passed, and then almost another hour. Clay glanced at the teenagers. They had fallen asleep. Charlie and John were awkwardly leaning on each other. Jessica had curled up with her feet on the seat beneath her and her head resting on the narrow window ledge. She looked like a cat, or a human who was going to wake up with neck problems. Clay shrugged his shoulders up and down, seized with all alertness he always felt when he was the only one awake. When Carlton had been a baby, he and Betty would take turns getting up with him, but while Betty had been exhausted by it, rarely making it through a following day, Clay had found himself almost energized. There was something about walking through the world when no one else was stirring, and it made him feel, as if he could protect them all, as if he could make everything all right. Oh, Betty. He blinked, the orange streetlight sunlight shimmering as his eyes moistened, and he took a deep breath, regaining control. There was nothing I could say, was there? Unbidden, the memory of their last conversation, their last fight, reared in his mind. All hours of the night. It's not healthy. You're obsessed. You're as consumed by your work as I am. It's something we have in common, remember? There's something we don't love about each other. We love about each other. This is different, Clay. This worries me. You're irrational. She laughed, a, a sound like breaking glass. If you think that, then we're not living the same reality. Maybe we're not. Maybe not. The light changed. Clay glanced around, fully focused on the prison again. The orange streetlight was fading, flickering, growing faster as he watched it. It gave a final heroic burst, and it went dark. Damn it, he said aloud. Jessica stirred in her sleep, making a small protesting noise. Quietly but quickly, Clay exited the car, grabbing his flashlight from its place beneath the seat. He closed the door and started toward the mounds, his frantic light shaking out across the field until it disappeared. Charlie roused. Her heart was racing, but she couldn't tell if it was from a sudden awakening or from the remnants of a dream that she could no longer recall. She shook John. John, Jessica, something's going on. Charlie was out of the car, running before they could answer, heading for the mounds. Clay! She called. He jumped onto the sound of her voice. They're gone, Charlie gasped. Stumbling on the upturned earth. Clay was already running toward the apartments and nearest to him. Go back to the car, he barked over his shoulder. Charlie ran after him, glancing back, trying to spot Not John and Jessica. Charlie's eyes weren't adjusted yet, and and Clay's flashlight seemed to sink into the darkness ahead of him. Charlie could only follow the sounds of his footsteps as he changed through the shallow grass. She finally came to the brick wall and sprinted around it to the front of the apartment. Clay was at the door already. He banged against it and impatiently peered into the nearest window. No one answered. No one was inside. A scream cut through the night, and Charlie froze. It was high-pitched, a human, reverberating off the walls of the houses. It came again. Clay aimed his light in the direction of the sound. "We missed someone," he shouted. He darted toward the side of the house, running blindly across the black field. The scream seemed to be in motion, making its way rapidly toward the black trees. "Over here!" Charlie cried, breaking from behind Clay and running toward the indistinct movement in the dark. "Charlie!" John's voice cut distantly through the night, but Charlie didn't wait for him. The sound of gravel under her feet was deafening. She came to an abrupt stop, realizing she'd lost her bearings. "Charlie!" someone yelled in the distance. The rest was lost in the rustle of trees as the night wind swept through. She tried to keep her eyes open and as grains of sand pelted her face. Then the wind finally calmed. There was another rustle of branches nearby. This one was unnatural. Charlie stumbled toward the sound and holding her arms in front of her until she could see again. Then and it was there, just at the edge of the tree line. A misshapen figure stood hunched in the darkness. Charlie stopped short, a few yards away, struck still, suddenly aware that she was alone. The thing lurched to one side, then stepped forward, revealing a sleek snout. A wolf's mane ran over the top of its head and down on the neck. It was stooped over, one arm twisted downward while the other flailed up. Perhaps control over its limbs was uncertain. It was looking at Charlie, and she met its eyes. They were piercing blue and self-illuminating. Yet, while the eyes had held steady in light, the rest of the creature was in flux, morphing and disorienting in fashion. Even as she watched the movement, it was as a groomed, agile. One moment it was a groomed and agile figure covered in silver hair, and the next a tattered metal framework, partly coated in a rubbery, translucent skin. Its eyes were stark white bulbs. The creature flinched and convulsed, finally settling on its crude metal appearance. Charlie drew a sharp breath. The wolf broke its stare. It spasmed alarmingly, doubling over, its chest split open, and folding outward like a horrid metal mouth. The parts made a grinding, abrasive sound. Charlie stifled a scream, rooted to the spot, and lurched again. It lurched again. Something fell from inside it, landing solidly on the ground. The wolf toppled over beside it, and shuddered, and it went still. "Oh no!" Clay arrived behind Charlie, staring at the human body that lay writhing in the grass. Charlie remained motionless, captivated by the wolfish pinpoints of light that stared back at her. The thing tucked its head down, suddenly pulling again, with silver mane. It folded its long, silken ears and slunk backward, disappearing into the woods. There was a rustling in the trees, and then it was gone. No sooner had Jessica arrived than Clay was forcibly shoving his light into her hands. "Take it!" Clay knelt by the body, doubled over. The grass checked for a pulse. "She's alive!" he said, but his voice was hard. He bent over her, looking for something else. "Charlie!" It was John, touching her shoulder. "Charlie, come on. We have to get help." John took off running, and Charlie followed more slowly, unable to take her eyes off the woman, who seemed to be dying on the ground. Clay's voice faded into the darkness behind them. "Miss? Are you alright? Miss? Can you hear me?" And that's the end of chapter 8. I can't believe we've finally made it to chapter 9. This means 5 more chapters and the whole book is done. This is like Undertale, this is like one of those journeys that is insanely up and down and feelsy and not feelsy, and one of those stories that makes your heart race. And honestly, I want your opinion. If you like these kind of videos, comment down below that you like them. Because I do have the last book in the series too. I didn't get to read you guys the first book, Silver Eyes, but maybe that's a good thing because it would be awkward for me to read you guys the Silver Eyes after I read the Twisted Ones. So I do have the Fourth Closet if you guys ever wanted me to read that. Which I'm excited because I read the first sentence and I freaked out. Of like the back of it and I freaked out. So I can't wait till we get to the end of this so I can figure out what's going on. But anyways, I'm Old Skeleton Wizard. That was chapter 9 of the Twisted Ones. Marley's probably sleeping. Peace out, my dudes.